What's up, guys? Long time no see. Hope you guys are doing well. In this video today, I'm going to talk to you guys about my experience with the post office from application to where I'm at now, about 30 to 40 days on the street as a letter carrier, doing it by myself. So I'm really making this video for anyone that's interested in applying with the post office and anyone currently in the beginning stages of the application process with the company. When I was going through the process, I was extremely confused, still very confused to this day. One of the biggest issues that I've had is I've got no direction on anything at all. Everything comes out of the blue, and it's really hard to, you're just kind of walking blindly into the future. You know, there's no, you're going to do this day, nothing. There's nothing like that from the application process all the way to where I'm at now. There's nothing, you've no guidance at all. So I want to make this video so if you're going through this process too, that way you have a little bit of an idea how it went for someone else that's fresh out of it to ease your questions, because there's just a lot of them that are going to be probably floating through your head and you just don't know what the hell is going to come next. So I'm going to explain how it went for me to hopefully help you with your adventures and your future career with the post office, if that's the career you decide to follow. Also, if you're just watching because you are a member of the channel and you haven't heard from me in a while, hi there. I'm doing my best to still make content for you guys. Really hard with a new job, but I'm doing my best. And hopefully we can continue to make content as we go. But this one's more focused on people that are interested in the post office. But hopefully if you're not, you can still enjoy the video anyway. So let's get into it. So the very first thing I want to say, and this is something your parents probably told you 100 times growing up as a kid, but you definitely do not want to quit your current job too early. So if you're currently employed and you're applying with the post office, do not quit too soon. And I'll explain to you the application process and how it went for me. And then that should hopefully explain why you don't want to quit too early. I applied with the post office after I was ready to move on from my previous job. And I applied, didn't hear anything for about 2 weeks. And then I received an email. Not a phone call, nothing like that, just an email. And in that email, it asked me to provide additional information to what I'd already provided in the application for a background screen. So I went in, I filled that out, and sent it off. Literally 10 minutes after I got the first email. Did it right away, trying to move the process along, trying to go quick, because it already took 2 weeks to hear anything, and it was just another email about a background check. So I filled that out, and then another 2 weeks went by and I hadn't heard anything. And I know that I have a clean record. I know that I've got nothing on my record that would cause any issues. So I knew I was going to get past the background check without a problem. I hadn't heard anything after 2 weeks, so I called USPS HR. I mean, I literally looked up USPS HR, called them in Washington, D.C., and they transferred me to my regional HR director in Nebraska. I live in Iowa. He's in Nebraska. That's irrelevant to the story. But anyway, they gave me his number. So I called him, and he basically said at that point, in the email that you should be receiving, as long as your background check clears, you'll get an email about coming in and getting fingerprinted. So I was like, okay, whatever. Okay, I guess I'll just continue to wait. So I did. I waited, and a couple days later, I got the email that I was supposed to get about going in and getting fingerprinted. So at this point, I've done basically 2 background checks, the initial background check from the application plus another background check. And now they're wanting me to go in to get fingerprinted at the main office. I've got no issues with that. I'm not hiding nothing. I don't have any problems. I have not received an interview for this job. I've not done a drug test. I've done nothing at this point that you would expect to do for a regular job application process. None of it. But I got the email about scheduling to go in to get fingerprinted, and I called them literally right when I saw the email in the morning And I went in and asked if I could go in that day. They said that I could go in that day, so I went right in that day, got my fingerprints done. And after I got my fingerprints done, the lady that did them told me that the fingerprint results can take about 3 to 4 weeks. So I'm really just trying to get out of my job at this point that I'm in, that I'm not really happy in anymore. And I've got basically 2 months of waiting for this to all go through and still nothing. and now I just did this extra thing and they told me it could take another month to hear back. I waited about 3 weeks. I don't hear anything back, so I call the HR guy again. Because I had his number from when I called Washington, D.C. They gave me his number. I still had his number. So I called him back and said, it's been about 3 weeks. I'm just wondering what's going to happen next, or how much longer do you think it's going to take? I really want to get the process moving along. So he said, you should be receiving an email shortly as long as your fingerprint results clear with information regarding orientation. So about a day or two after I called him again, I got that email about orientation. It was a Tuesday. And I got that email while I was at work. And when I was at work, I gave my notice that day. And it was a 2-day notice. I said I would work Wednesday, I would work Thursday, I wanted Friday off to prepare, and orientation was on Monday. So that is when I finally gave my notice. But it was about 2.5 months. It was about 2.5 months after my initial application. And again, did not have a job interview. The closest thing I had to a job interview was when I went in to get fingerprinted, but that was definitely not an interview. It was just go in, get fingerprinted, have casual conversation with the lady, and leave. And no drug test. Haven't gotten a drug test still to this day. Perfectly clean. If you want to drug test me, please do. I've got nothing in my system, but didn't have any of those normal application expectations that you're used to doing, or that I'm used to doing anyway. So it didn't happen. So just be prepared for that. It's kind of confusing. But orientation day came, and for carriers it's 3 days. For clerks it's 2 days. So the first 2 days are just learning about the company and nothing related to your job whatsoever. It's very, very basic and just your standard orientation stuff. Nothing crazy. They just want to tell you about the post office and why it's such a good job and things of that nature. So pretty standard stuff there. The third day was basically going over traffic laws and going over the park procedures for your LLV. Put the car in park, curb the wheels, set the parking brake, turn your car off, get out, make sure you lock up when you leave. You go through that sort of stuff, and they just show you like a diagram of an LLV and explain the parts of the LLV and things of that nature. They talk about the new electric vehicles that they've been talking about for 15 years that still aren't here, that probably will never come, but they tell you about those as well, yada, yada, yada. And at the end of the day, you get a paper that says that you have to attend City Carrier Academy or Rural Carrier Academy, depending on what job you're doing. And you can get lucky and have the training facility located where you live. I was not so lucky. So I had a 2.5 hour commute to get to the training facility. So I had no idea this was coming. And basically I had 2 days to figure out what the fuck I was going to do. So I got a hotel room for the entire duration of Academy, which was Tuesday through Friday. I got a hotel room, and I traveled up there on Monday to get settled in, and then could just go straight to Academy from my hotel on Tuesday. So I've got a whole series up on my YouTube here and on TikTok, kind of how things went for me in Academy. I didn't really go much in specifics of what Academy was really all about. It was just kind of like a vlog type of thing that I did, and it was a fun series to make. So if you want to see that, I would recommend checking it out on the channel. But really, Academy was unexpected, and you have to just make arrangements last minute. Now, the post office will reimburse you. They give you an e-travel expense report, and they give you a sheet that basically tells you what the hotel room limit is for what they'll cover and that sort of shit. So you can find a hotel room within that limit, so that way they reimburse you. Yada, yada, yada. So I'm about 30 to 40 days into carrying my, alone, doing it all by myself. And I still have not been reimbursed and haven't heard a peep about it. I did get them to make copies of my travel report, which is actually right here. I made them make copies when they sent it off. So they sent it. I did get my copies back a couple days later. Still haven't heard a word on my reimbursement. So I don't know. Hopefully that comes soon, but I still haven't heard. But I believe that you can talk to your station and get a card, and they'll pay for you in advance. You just have to pay. They basically pull it out of your first paycheck. I believe that you can do that. I know one guy in my training class actually got a USPS marked like Malibu to drive up to class because his vehicle was unreliable. So they will help you with that. I just went out of pocket for it. I just thought that was easier. And maybe it wasn't because I still haven't been reimbursed. But you can make that decision when you have to do it yourself. And whatever decision you make is whatever decision you make, I guess. There's nothing, that just kind of is what it is. So just be prepared if you pay out of pocket. They're not going to rush to get you your money. So back on the topic of Academy, just to be completely transparent with you, I loved my instructor in Academy, but I didn't learn fucking anything from that class. I didn't learn shit from the course at all. To be honest, the instructor that we had was a letter carrier, still is, and has been doing it for 8 to 10 years. So she didn't really seem like she had much interest in training. She just wanted to get through it as quickly as possible. So it was pretty much just speed running a PowerPoint, which, yeah, I did not retain anything. If you're in Academy and you're not gathering or you're not learning much of anything, don't worry. You're going to learn more when you get out on the street and you're doing it yourself. And just don't let it overwhelm you. It's not worth it. But you have 4 days of Academy. The last day, well, depending on how it's structured, in Academy, the main things that you do are you sit in class, you go through a example case where you just slot in your letters. So you case basically a route. And then we had a walking section with mailboxes set up so you could walk mail and deliver mail to the mailboxes. And then we had a section in the parking lot where there was mailboxes set up that you could drive your truck and just kind of get used to dropping mail off and that sort of thing. And that's kind of what you do in Academy. A lot of class time, and then you have some case work that you do, and then you've got those little training courses that you go through. But yeah, it was pretty basic. I think the main thing that I learned from Academy was the classifications of mail, like first class mail, pre-sort standard mail, and what to do with each classification of mail and that sort of thing. That is it, really. So, and I'm 30 to 40 days in. I think I'm doing a really, really good job, and I didn't learn shit from that class. So if you're in that situation, don't panic. But on the last day of Academy, I had still not heard from my station on what was next. Obviously, I know I'm employed. I just don't know when I have to report to work. And you would think, with most companies, you probably get, you work Friday, you probably get Saturday, Sunday off, start you on Monday. So I called the station from my training center on Friday, and they told me I was to report to work on Saturday, which is fine. I just wasn't expecting it to be so soon. So basically, you go from Academy Friday to working on Saturday. So I drove back on Friday, started work Saturday. And Saturday was my first day of OJT, on the job training. So you basically go out with a trainer. Your first day of OJT is really supposed to be a kind of enhanced, advanced shadow day where you're watching a carrier do their route, but you have some knowledge from Academy and you can ask questions to get answers from someone that's actually doing the job in your station. However, the guy that I was doing OJT with, I basically told him I want to do it. I want to run the mail. I just want to do it. I'm going to learn more if I do it than I am just watching you do it. So I basically gave him the day off. I ran his route and asked him questions throughout the day. My first day at OJT, and that was really, really helpful. I would recommend everyone do that if you can. If you learn by doing things hands-on, that's what I would recommend doing. Get 3 days of running a route with a carrier, and that way you can run into issues, ask them questions, and then you'll know what to do when you're by yourself. If you think you need another day to observe before doing that, that's fine, but you do get 3 days of OJT. All 3 days, well, before we go into that, so our first day of OJT was on Saturday. We finished that day, and then I came in. I obviously had to come to work on Sunday. Sunday is Amazon Sunday. So all CCAs and PTFs Sundays are mandatory. So I'm a PTF, which is a career position. A CCA is a non-career position, so it's technically below a PTF. I think they make a little less, but I'm pretty sure the post office is phasing CCAs out entirely, and most people are getting hired on as PTFs. This is really a conversation for a whole nother video if you guys want to talk about it. But I really don't know much about being a CCA because I was hired on as a PTF. The main difference is CCAs do everything a PTF does. However, a CCA is only employed 360 days of the year, and they have a 5-day rest period where they're not technically employed. So they're not classified as career because they're only on a 360-day contract. Whereas a PTF is a career employee, meaning they're employed 365 days of the year. And that's it. And there's a little bit of a pay increase for PTFs. There's also some other benefits of being a PTF that are related to benefits. You can apply for benefits right away as a PTF. As a CCA, you cannot. You can join the union, the National Association of Letter Carriers Union, as a PTF. You cannot do that as a CCA. And there's some other things like that it's got to be a whole other video. If you guys want to talk about that, we can talk about that in another video. We're not going to get into that today. But essentially, those two classifications have to work Amazon Sunday. And then obviously regular carriers or converted carriers, as they call them, have the option to come in, I believe, on Sundays to work if they want to. But most of them don't. So it's really just a day for the newbies to kind of do their thing. Sundays are incredibly, incredibly, incredibly easy. So you go in, you load up your truck with a bunch of packages that are already set up on a route for you. You take your scanner, you scan the package. It gives you a literal number, a delivery sequence number that you write on the package. And it'll give you a number from 1 to however many stops that you have. I typically have 130 to 140 stops on a Sunday. So you can literally label each package 1 to 140. Or whatever it may be, and then you just leave the station in your truck, and your scanner actually will GPS you. It'll pull up a GPS to the address for the first package, and then you just back out of the GPS, you scan the package. When you get there, it makes sure that it's the right label, and you drop it off at the house, come back to your car, pull up the next address, and off you go. It's super, super easy work, and the only thing that sucks about it is it's a Sunday. And the other thing that I didn't know about it that I had to figure out on my own once I got my check is that you actually do get a shift incentive on Sundays as well. So you make time and a half on Sunday by going in and working, and it's super fucking easy. So it sucks that it's Sunday, but if you are a new hire, you're going to have to work Amazon Sunday. The best thing I can tell you, just keep in mind that you're making more money to do it, and it is super fucking easy. So that's all I got to say. Try to go into it with the best mindset that you can, because if you go into it with a bad attitude, your day is going to be fucking miserable. So just try to put a smile on your face and get through it, and think about all the money you're going to make and how happy your wife's going to be, or how happy you're going to be able to buy your new toy that you've been wanting to get, because you're going to be making some bank, boy. All right. But yeah, so I worked Amazon Sunday after my first day of OJT. Monday was my second day of OJT. I went back out with the same guy that I went on the first day, so I ran his route. It was actually a different route. He's a T6 carrier, so he's responsible for 5 routes. So he works 5 days a week. Has a different route each 5 day, but each day of the week, but it rotates. So he has the same 5 routes, but he does them in different orders every week, essentially. So I got to see one route with him on the first day, got to see a new route on the second day, and I ran that route for him. So I basically ran those 2 routes. And then I had Tuesday off because our station didn't have enough trainers, which is weird, but it is what it is. I got Tuesday off that week, and then I came in on Wednesday to finish my OJT. That was my 3rd day of OJT, and I went with a different carrier that day, which was fine. It was a really unique route that I went on the 3rd day. It was all businesses, and it was all mounted, so it was all delivering mail from your truck into mailboxes. So it was much different than the 2 like walking focused routes that I was on the day before. So that was really, really nice to be able to see that contrast. But the 3rd day of OJT was tough. The guy that I went with, our personalities just didn't clash. Nothing wrong with the guy. I just thought he was kind of a doofus, and it made the day really long. No offense to him, but it just made the day really long. But that's besides the point. But after the 3rd day of OJT, I heard that you could get a 4th day of OJT if you felt like you needed it. You can let the supervisors know, and they'll send you out with another carrier for a 4th day if you feel that you need to. I did not feel like I needed that at all. I wanted to get out and do it and jump into it. Delaying the inevitable isn't something I like to do. So you're going to have to go into the thick of it at some point, regardless of if you get an extra day with the trainer or not. So I just said, I'm going to jump out and do it. I did ask the first guy that I went out with with the first 2 days if he thought I needed another day. He said, no, absolutely not. I don't think you do. I think you're ready. And that was about all the assurance that I needed. So I just went out and did it on the 4th day. So 4th day, the first day by myself was tough. The biggest piece of advice that I can give any new carrier is just don't stress out. It's not worth it. There's a lot of people that come out of training with the thought that they're going to go to jail if they misdeliver mail or something. You're not going to go to fucking jail. So just take a deep breath. It's just fucking mail. Relax and do your best. All you can do is do your best. You're not going to probably be able to do a full route by yourself on the first day. I certainly couldn't. I had to have someone come out and help me after they finished their route to help me finish the route. It's expected, and people expect that to happen. You can't come out of the gates being the best in the company. It's not going to happen, so don't worry about it too much. But definitely try to do your best. There's a fine line that you have to think about for your first 90 days, and that your first 90 days is your probationary period. So when you come out of academy, when you get done with OJT, and you are by yourself, the first day you're by yourself starts your probationary period. You have 90 days to basically hit the metrics that your station wants you to hit in order to become a regular with the station. Within that 90 days, if you call off too many times, if you're too slow, if you're not doing things the way that you should be doing things, they can and will let you go. I came out of training with a girl that was in the class with me. She went to my station, and at her 30-day review, she was let go from the company for calling out too many times, and things of that nature. So what I'm saying is, do not stress yourself out, because that's going to affect your productivity. It's going to make your days horrible. You're going to be miserable, and it's going to make your days feel like they're 1,000,000 hours long. Don't stress out about it, but at the same time, you have to work and you have to do your best in your 90 days. It is crucial that you are getting better every day and that you're showing initiative in order to stay with the company. You do want to stay with the post office. I promise you that. I've never made so much money doing anything in my life. The job pays extremely well, and it is absolutely imperative that I stay. I want to stay. I love delivering mail. So your 90 days is going to be super critical. So while you're running on your first day by yourself, don't even think about your 90-day probationary period. Your first day really doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that you're learning how to run and how to hold the mail. I mean, a lot of people think about it. How many people know how to hold an armful of flats, letters in your hand, and a full service in your satchel with all your parcels? There's so much shit going on. You have to learn how to do that. So your first few days, take time to learn how to properly handle and carry the mail. And then once you get that down, then you can start thinking about thinking about your 90 days and making sure that you're working hard. But, like I said, the first day I had to get help from someone. I've had to get help from people since that day. There's a lot of routes that we go on that are confusing. And the first time you do any route, it's going to be confusing. So it is expected that people will send you on a route and that someone's going to have to come help you. So don't be too upset if that happens. Just make sure that you are doing everything you can and working as hard as you can. That's all I can say. Just do your best. So here's another thing that I'll mention about working for the post office that I didn't expect as a letter carrier. You are expected to work 7 days a week unless told otherwise. So obviously we have Amazon Sunday, which covers Sunday. And as a PTF, you're always going to have to work Sundays. Just get used to that. And mail's delivered on Saturday, which means there is no day where the post office isn't running mail. So unless you are told you have the day off, you're expected to go to work. So the longest stretch that I've had right now is 15 days in a row. That's 15 days straight, not one single day off. And then I got 1 day off, and I was right back to work again the next day after that 1 day off. So you're going to work a lot, a long string of days in a row, and you're going to have long days. It's just part of the process. But if you are focused on getting better, doing the best that you can do, the day is going to fly by, and it's going to be awesome. But you just have to go into it with the right mindset. You have to understand that you're going to work long stretches. But when you get your paycheck, it won't be so bad once you get that check. So just be prepared for that, because that's going to happen to you. I'm currently on an 8-day stretch right now without a day. You can also kiss having 2 days in a week off goodbye. That will never happen. So I got my 30-day review probably about a week ago, which makes me about 37 days or something like that. And I have had 3 days off if you include the Tuesday when I was doing OJT. So I've had 3 days off in 37 days. And that's not uncommon. So just expect that to be the case. If that's not something you can handle, job might not be for you, because that's just how it is. So just be prepared for for that. It was tough for me during that 15-day stretch. I was needing a day off. I'd come from jobs before where I was getting 2 days off every week. And I was bitching about not having enough days off then. So it was a little bit of an adjustment period, but I'm used to it now. It doesn't really bother me anymore. So it is what it is, but just know that that's going to be coming. So prepare yourself, I guess, for that. But yeah, other than that, that's about it. I mean, I go in every day. I get a new route every single day. I've done the same route. I ran one route for 4 days straight. Other than that, it's been a new route every day. And after my 37 days or so, 30, 40 days in, I'm able to run a full route and a part of a route in about 8 hours. So that's about where my station wants me to be productivity-wise at 90 days, and I'm already there about 37 days. So I'm feeling very confident that I will be able to get through my 90-day probationary period. And then as soon as I get out of that 90-day probationary period, I will have no work stress at all. There will be no issue. Once you make it past your 90, life just gets good at that point. So, yeah. I think I'm doing great, and I think that I'm on the right track to make sure that I do become, I do convert after my 90 days, and yeah, I'm feeling good. So good luck to all of you guys out there if you're interested in the post office. I hope this video kind of helped you, so that way you can figure out where you're at in the process and see what's coming next. I certainly would have liked to have had a video like this when I was going through the process, just so I had an idea of what the hell's coming. So hopefully this helped you. And best of luck. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I didn't cover anything related to the union or a bunch of other things that we can get into further talks about and discussions about if you'd like to. But just leave your comments down below about things like that, and I'll either reply to your comment with a reply in the comments, or I'll make a full video about it, depending on how much there is to say about whatever your question is. I'm more than happy to help. And like I said, I'm brand new too. I'm not a seasoned carrier. I have, I'm right in the thick of it with everyone else that's out there that's just doing their best to get through their 90-day probation period. So I want to be here to help you as much as I can. So let me know down below if you have any questions, regardless of whether you think the question is dumb or not. I'm more than happy to help. And yeah, best of luck to you guys. Best of luck to your future with the Postal Service if that's the route you decide to go. And if you just stuck it out with me and hung out because you wanted to know what I've been up to, hope you guys enjoyed the video. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all the love and support. And we will catch you on the next one. Take it easy.